We have a fact check today on mRNA vaccines. Last month, the Department of Health and Human Services said they plan to cut $500 million in federal funding for mRNA vaccine development. Many people are familiar with this term now because of COVID, but do they differ from other vaccines? So I'm joined by Dr. Nita Bijoor to break down the facts. She's a local doctor here in Greenville from Oakview Medical Associates. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's first start with what is an mRNA vaccine?
Absolutely. So an mRNA vaccine delivers snippets of genetic information in the form of mRNA, which goes and enters the cell, and it triggers the cell to develop a protein. In COVID's case, the COVID vaccine case, it develops a spike protein on the covering of the cell, and that makes your own immune system develop antibodies against that spike protein. So the memory cells are already there. In case the person gets COVID, those antibodies are already recruited in the bloodstream and are ready to fight the real infection.
Interesting. Now, only COVID vaccines, mRNA?
Not really. So the technology has been around for almost 30 years, but it's just in the setting of COVID, it was rapidly developed. But the in HIV and some RSV treatments as well. So
now, is the flu vaccine mRNA?
Not currently, but it's probably in the pipeline. There are some phase 3 studies ongoing. Current flu vaccines are either live attenuated, that means they've actually taken a live virus and kind of frozen it a little bit. That's like the nasal spray, flu mist. And then there are also inactivated versions of the virus where they kill the virus, and that incites your immunity. So current flu vaccines work on the basis of antigen. They give you a little bit of the dead virus, and then that makes you develop immunity or antibodies. mRNA, on the other hand, gives you the genetic message to develop that protein against which your body will then develop antibodies.
So the protein goes in the cell.
On the covering of the cell, the spike protein. Yeah.
So are there any concerns about mRNA vaccines? I feel like I've heard about it with the spike protein.
Yeah.
There's concern over like the spike protein.
Absolutely. So I think one of the myths is that, it alters your DNA. It cannot. DNA is inside the nucleus of the cell, so the inner component of the cell. This one goes into the cytoplasm, the cell itself, where there's a certain thing that develops the proteins in your body called endoplasmic reticulum. So it kind of message codes that protein that you can develop around the cell. So it's totally different science, technology. It's not the same thing.
Now, why do some people get something like myocarditis as a result? Or, why do some people have side effects?
Right. I mean, I think no technology is 100% foolproof. Overall, there are mild symptoms like soreness, malaise, fatigue, body ache. But then there are rare cases of myocarditis where possibly the antibodies that develop start attacking your own tissue. So there is a plausible, it's being studied, and we're trying to understand how some people have developed side effects against the mRNA vaccines.
Like when you get the shot, is it stronger? Like, does the body sometimes have a stronger response to it compared to like a dead virus or a dead bacteria?
Well, that's a great question. I think now they have given out around 13 billion doses of vaccine. So we have a lot of data. So we have a lot of safety data, but we also have a lot of real life data on the adverse outcomes, adverse effects, or side effects. So they're taking a look at all of those together in population studies, a few cases of really significant side effects versus mass population protection. I think they're really taking a look at how effective it is. And overall, it's been safe and effective.
Okay, so right now, safe and effective. But there are those rare cases.
Yes, absolutely.
Where you could get myocarditis or some sort of side effect.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Anything else you want to add about it that I didn't ask?
I think, the overall data, now that we have 4 years of that, is that it is very effective in reducing severity of illness, hospitalizations, and death. So priority is given for people over 65 and those with chronic comorbidities. And just one of those things where the mRNA technology is going to be used in other diseases like cancer, HIV, RSV. So it's not a new technology. There's a lot of data behind that, and it could be very potentially beneficial in a lot of other diseases.
It's easier to replicate, right?
Easier to replicate. It's rapid, whereas if you have the non-mRNA, like the cell vaccines, like flu vaccine, they literally take a while because you're inactivating the virus and then you're putting that into the body depending on the body's ability to develop the antibody. So totally different technology, but this will allow a lot more people to gain access overall because it's rapid.
You can make mRNA like that just immediately.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You code the protein and you can make it.
Yeah, once you figure it out. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us and filling us in on that.
Thanks.